I recently vowed to a little fan called Tim Sedgwick that I would find the best short run in wrestling, but so far I found nothing but a bunch of mid-runs. I enjoyed Kane as the Unabomber, but we need to top that so we can bring Ring of the Hawk Season 6 to a close. We need an excellent run, an A-tier run. ECW has always been a happy hunting ground for the Hawk, especially when it comes to short runs. Eddie Guerrero, Dean Malenko, Ray, Sid, they all scored pretty highly in ECW. So today, let's dig back into that treasure trove in search of our first A. But of course, if you know a wrestler who could do the JOB to the HAWK, shove their name down in the comments, Jack! Okay, it's the Steiner Brothers. Hopefully after this they won't be shovers. There's also an ECW wrestler called Tracy Smothers. But you know, they didn't wrestle him, and the Hawk has to go for the low-hanging fruit. The Steiners are just as relevant as ever nowadays. The internet has pretty much combed through all the incredible Scott Steiner promos at this point. But not to worry, because the new Steiner on the block, Bron Breaker, is doing an excellent work, and he's ensuring their legacy keeps moving. I actually think he's quite refreshing in today's environment, where a lot of family members can seem that they only have a job due to who they're related to, but this guy looked like he belonged on television from day one. Anyway, this isn't a video about him, it's about ECW and the Steiner Brothers, so let's head over there. In 1994, the Steiners left the WWF unhappy about their direction and wanting to work in Japan. Ultimately, Rick Steiner got booked at an ECW Super Show as Taz's partner, which eventually led to both the Steiners and ECW. Match 1, Dudley teams up with the Vampire Warrior Gangrel to take on the Steiner Brothers. The fans are overwhelmed to see them here. The Steiner Brothers wouldn't face the more famous Dudley boys until the TNA times, so we'll have to make do with the early version of the Dudley family here. Scott Steiner starts the match. Scotty arm drags Dudley. Now it's a hip toss. This is like week 1 wrestling school here. Scott Steiner looks like he just walked out of a gym. Dudley grabs an eyelash and chokes Scotty across the ropes. Scotty just suddenly smacks him and hits a delayed Tiger Driver. The crowd loved that one. Gangrel and Rick Steiner gets the tags. The crowd bark with happiness. Gangrel hits a scoop slam but can't follow up as he's caught and he's slammed. The heels cheat and they isolate Rick for a bit. Gangrel hits another scoop slam and makes a tag. Rick starts slamming his own head into the turnbuckles, which doesn't help him, and Dudley hits a net breaker for a 2. This is not the match I was expecting. Gangrel nails a front slam but Rick blocks Dudley's dive. Scotty has the tag. He throws Steiner lines. The Steiners hit some slightly sloppy looking power slams and duel together. Gangrel tries to recover with a dive, which Scotty stops and beautifully throws him overhead with a suplex. Nice dragon suplex from Scotty now. The Steiners end up beating Gangrel soon after with the Steiner drop. Much quicker match than I expected, but there was some awesome power on display here. I enjoyed seeing these two menaces throwing around everyone, so it's a B from the Hawk. Match 2. Well, this one seems to be courtesy of a fan cam, so I wouldn't normally count this match, but this is a very short run. It's the Steiner Brothers taking on Too Cold Scorpio and Dudley, so good that they named him twice. Scotty throws the Dudley down straight away. Dudley does manage to bash him into the corner and hits an elbow that leaves Scott rocking. It's not for long though, as he catches Dudley and hits a dragon suplex. Lots and lots of stalling here. They know they picked a fight with the wrong tag team, so they're just delaying the inevitable. Rick gets frustrated and screams, "Fight me, you pussy." Scorpio says he'll kick his pussy, and his girls too. He doesn't though, and soon he has to bail from the ring again. Finally, something happens as Scott suplexes Dudley overhead. He's up straight away pounding on Scotty. He gets a 1 off a snap suplex. Too Cold Scorpio comes in and hits a powerbomb. Scotty now manages a block in the corner and throws Scorpio overhead. Rick gets the tag. Dudley thinks he has him when he hits a slam and tries a kick, but Rick blocks his kick and hits a high ankle back suplex, which is madness. Scorpio cheats from the outside. Now we get something rare for this run. Scotty locks on a sleeper hold. That unsurprisingly doesn't last long. Scorpio misses a splash and Rick Steiner smashes him with a Steiner line. The match breaks down and heads out of the ring where Scott uses some sort of weapon, possibly a fire extinguisher, I couldn't tell. The Steiners just can't seem to find that one big move to put Dudley away. Scotty hits a Tiger Powerbomb but no pin is made. Finally, Scott puts Dudley on his shoulder so Rick can hit a diving clothesline. It should be over. No, Scorpio breaks up the pin. He knows they're in trouble and throws drop kicks, but he can't dive as Rick throws him off the top. The crowd sound very appreciative of that one. I think Scorpio gets a DDT from Tommy Dreamer on the outside, I couldn't tell, and finally the Steiners do beat Dudley with the Steiner drop. Pretty good for a house show match, they weren't phoning it in. It didn't have the intensity of some of the other matches you're going to see today, and Scorpio seemed a bit off his game to normal. It's a C. Match 3, ECW WrestlePalooza 95, 6-man tag match. Too Cold Scorpio, Dean Malenko and Cactus Jack take on Eddie Guerrero and the Steiner Brothers. Big match right here. I actually watched this one for my Eddie and ECW video, but I wasn't focused on the Steiners for that one. Scotty starts with Dean Malenko. Dean tries to sweep him to the mat. These two are having an amateur wrestling match in there. Dean manages to fireman's carry him. Malenko more than holds his own in there. Dean tries to get into a barging battle, which is a bad idea, and Scotty hits Steiner liner. He now picks Malenko up and gorilla presses him to the mat. Malenko dumps his nappy of fear and hides on the outside. Scotty tries to suplex him into the ring, which Malenko keeps blocking, and then Dean suplexes Steiner to the damn floor. Dean baseball slides him for good measure. Feels like a singles match so far. Back in the ring and Steiner fails on a power slam and Malenko drop kicks him. Steiner turns it around in the other corner and throws Dean with an overhead belly to belly. Dean finally makes the tag to Scorpio and Scotty tags Eddie. After Wild Guerrero tags the dog-faced gremlin, Rick quickly barges him down and he falls out of the ring. Scorpio isn't happy. He does return and manages a leapfrog dropkick. They then botch a victory roll or perhaps a head scissors and the crowd groan with anger. Scorpio quickly moves on with a slam. He climbs to the top where Steiner stops him and throws him. Rick misses a Steiner line and runs into a super kick, but Scorpio misses a crossbody. Rick's turn to dive. Scorpio tries to meet him up there, but he gets a top rope bulldog instead. Just a 2 count. Big release German suplex from Rick now, and Mick Foley decides to join the match for the first time. Fists start flying. They start battling on the outside where Rick continues being dominant in this match with a belly to belly on the outside. Now he catches a Scorpio attack and power slams him. Steiner has officially left 2/3 of the team in a crumpled heap on the outside. Eddie is tagged back in. The heels do finally take over the match for a bit, working over Eddie Guerrero. This match has been incredibly one-sided, so I knew it was going to happen at some point. Rick finally has the tag and he smashes the heels with Steiner lines. Scorpio is dumped on the top rope like a small child so Rick can hit a top rope suplex. Scotty swarms the ring and hits a tiger powerbomb to Cactus. The Steiners lift up Scorpio together so Eddie can smash him with a dive. Then they do the same to Cactus, but this time an Eddie Guerrero dropkick. Now it's Dean's turn to go for a ride, but Eddie botches his flying head scissors. Scorpio fortunately breaks up the pin, you don't want it going down like that. Then Dean just rolls up Eddie. Didn't see it going down like that at all. Really fun match. The Steiners look like animals and stars, and it was just great to see it. It's an A from the Hawk. Match 4, tag match. Taz leads the Steiner Brothers to the ring for a match against Too Cold Scorpio and Chris Benoit. Steiner starts with the crippler and Steiner makes the first takedown. Scott Steiner wants to have an amateur match, but Benoit isn't having any of that. He arm drags Scotty. Scotty comes back with a nice go behind and a waistlock takedown. Huge hip toss from Steiner now. Scotty fights off a dragon suplex but can't avoid a Northern Light suplex for a 2. The crowd sound their appreciation. Steiner's not sweating it and he hits a huge turtle wheel slam. Scorpio and Rick get the tags. Scorpio pushes him into the corner and hits some shoulders. He shows some nice athleticism now into a hip toss and a dropkick. Rick seems to be struggling with the speed of this one, but he manages to counter a dive into a slam. Here comes Chris Benoit. Rick hits clotheslines to them both. Benoit takes over but regrets that as Rick powers him into the corner. Chris Benoit comes back for a German and a slam. There seems to be some miscommunication as Scorpio wanted to dive right after it. They seem to now be partners who don't get on. That allows Scott Steiner to come in and hits a big gut wrench suplex. Scorpio escapes his powerbomb attempt and shows Scott how it's done. This time it's Benoit who wants to dive, but Scorpio won't let him. These guys need to stop playing around with the Steiner Brothers. Scotty Steiner dodges a dive and hits a clothesline. Now a devastating gorilla press slam and he smacks Scorpio out of the ring. A small orange man appears on camera staring down Scorpio on the outside, but nothing happens. Rick's fighting Benoit now. Benoit hits a Frankensteiner, which I'm sure leaves Scotty Steiner dumping in his nappy of anger. He has to break up the pin too. Some double teaming now backfires as Scorpio kicks Benoit. Benoit snaps and he hits a dragon suplex to his own partner. Taz also decks him with the TV title. Back in the ring and Rick Steiner hits a huge release German to Benoit. Surprisingly not the 3. The Steiners smell blood. Steiner crushes Benoit with a suplex from the top rope. No idea how Benoit kicks out yet again. Benoit now ends up on Rick's shoulders as Scotty hits a diving DDT. This time it's the 3. Wow, I absolutely love this match. Might be one of my new favourites. The move variation, the intensity, just the pure power on display. Everything looked great. It's an A from the Hawk. Nice little run this. Match 5, Gangsters Paradise. This one's a bit frustrating because everywhere the Hawk looks, the match has been cut down from a 20-minute match to a 5-minute match. Given the names involved, you kind of want to see the full match, but shove it. Jason Knight and the Eliminators take on Taz and the Steiner Brothers. Scorpio is also here, despite not officially being in this match. The Steiners get started with a pair of back body drops. The Steiners clear the ring. Steiner now takes out the Eliminators with hip tosses and Rick hits a double Steiner line. John Cronus takes over and hits a somersault leg drop, but Rick Steiner comes back with some more clotheslines. Jason, the sexiest dweeb alive, unwisely gets tagged in and Scotty launches him with a suplex. Taz beats up Jason on the outside and sends him back to Scotty, who hits a wedgie plex. That's hilarious, I've never seen that one before. It doesn't go much better for Saturn, who gets a belly to belly from Scotty and a top rope one from Rick. The big moves continue with Scotty Steiner hitting a top rope fall away slam. The match completely breaks down. Taz smashes the ref into the turnbuckles. This is a ref bump, by the way. Scorpio returns, kicks Taz, and the ref wakes up to count the 3. Well, with so much of this match cut out, it's hard to judge it like the others, but I enjoyed what I saw here. It's a C. Now, unfortunately, that's game over because there isn't any more match footage to show you, but it wouldn't be a Scott Steiner run without a crazy promo, and this one does not disappoint.
Forget about being hurt, Taz. I say kick his ass, send Jason all those feminine wrestlers like Johnny Bad who wears makeup, Goldust, yeah, that's good. And then Shawn Michaels should all have a feminine match and wrestle for the Intergender Continental Championship and wrestle women. Kick his ass!
Well,
I had no idea Scott Steiner was going around talking like this as early as 1995, but that's kind of why ECW ruled. Wrestlers just found the best versions of their characters in this company. Not long after this, the Steiners would end up back in WCW, and this run was pretty much forgotten about. Now, when it comes to the final grade, I really did enjoy it, and it was a lot of fun, but unfortunately, with no storylines, it was just also a bit too short to get a top tier grade. So it's going in the B zone, and if you don't agree with that, so be honest brother, check your girl's phone.